Yeah, no, the things some of these companies do with their TikTok accounts is
Yeah.
just
The advertising, the control of social media. Wendy started it.
yeah. Wendy started it. Smug Wendy
Years ago. Smug Wendy.
And Smug Wendy is almost a separate entity from regular Wendy.
Absolutely. Because they're so savage. They still are. They haven't stopped.
Yeah, man.
Oh.
And obviously, there's whatever that a gamer is controlling the dominoes.
Yeah. And loves
Facebook
Assassin's
page.
Creed and March Madness.
And then obviously, I
time.
just showed you the JG Wentworth TikTok and the
And
Nutter
Nutter
Butter
Butter.
TikTok, which is
They put
This-
Duolingo owls.
over the
Nothing
opera.
to do with Duolingo.
Yeah, nothing to do with, but it was posted around the time that Duo died. Is Duo
Oh,
alive
okay.
again? I haven't even
I
seen
think
any.
so.
I don't know. Hi, everybody.
Welcome back to another episode of Mondays Are for the Nerds.
I'm Tristan. This is Jay.
We're your co-host. Oh, we're in for a good
Nerdy
episode.
weekly nerdy news. You know the whole. If you've listened to us before, you know the whole shtick.
Yeah.
Before we started, Jay and I were going down a rabbit hole of just like the weird marketing that is probably people our age being
Absolutely, and I
being
love
hired, like some intern
Yeah.
being put in charge of the social media accounts of these companies. And JG Wentworth is legitimately like they're doing their job right. It's
Yeah.
just random memes, but it will segue into like the Who's That Pokemon one where it just segues into a JG Wentworth commercial.
It just cuts out of the rest of the thing and it just slowly zooms in on that.
There's one that was just like I think it was a sped up. Might not have been sped up. My thumb could have just been on the screen, but it was the
Yeah.
Family Guy intro, and it played the JG Wentworth
Just over the Family
just over
Guy
the
intro?
Family Guy intro.
Domino's Twitter bio being feral for Parmesan stuffed crust pizza.
And then there's the Nutter Butter.
The horror that is.
Yeah,
Nutter Butter.
it legitimately horror. Like some actually have jump scares in them.
Yeah.
And,
That actually got me.
And the funniest thing, I got to pull it back up. I'm turning my volume down though, so we don't get. The funniest thing
Struck.
about it is you go to the comments, and Sour Patch Kids, the official Sour Patch Kids, got comments. Oh, you scroll. There used to
is
be
this,
all.
is this at the house one?
Yeah, they used to be all at the top, and I can't find them anymore. But KFC would be like, "Hey, are you okay?"
All the
it's-
companies are just, it's the same people.
Yeah. I mean, I'm looking.
In the best way. In the absolute best way.
Of course, now the comments aren't going to load. Yeah, Sour Patch Kids again. Is this a threat? And then the account, the Nutter Butter account responds, a Nubber Dutter.
No.
Cinnamon Toast Crunch, so real. Chicken and a biscuit. I don't know how to feel about this. And the Nutter Butter responds, chicken.
They're just having fun now. They're just having fun. I want to be.
This isn't an official account, but it's like, this feels like a fever dream. And then Nutter Butter, listen closely.
This is if Hayden was in control of every single social media.
Oh, dude, it's
for
just
every company.
Funfetti, not friends. Subway, OMG, hey bestie.
Why is Subway and Nutter Butter best friends?
TikTok for business. You never fail to amaze me, my dear. It's like no one is at first all the comment when I like first found this in like October or something last year, all the comments were like, "Hey, what's going on?" Now everyone's all in on the joke. Everyone's just like,
they're part of the bit.
yeah. Anyway, I just love that. Love all that. I'm sure there's other accounts that do similar things that we're just
Yeah.
not aware of because those are only the only 3
This
examples.
is, we're scratching the surface.
Yeah, but
barely scratching the surface here.
well,
all were
we
like
should
that.
probably get into our small talk because there's one
Absolutely.
big thing we need to talk about.
Yes.
But what'd you do this week? Before we get into that, what'd you do this week?
Well, before we get into something else, I can't say that until later. Spoiler alert, or heads up. I didn't do much of anything. I played some Assassin's Creed Valhalla, obviously, in prep for what we'll talk about later. I think that's it. That's it. I saw the new movies this week, which I'll get into that later as well. But watching more Frasier. I'm in season 5 now.
Yeah,
That's all I did.
kind of pretty much the same. This week's kind of a blur where I'm just
Yeah.
kind of like I just existed, worked,
Same.
didn't do a whole lot because my grandma usually watches the dogs during the day.
Yeah.
Now I'm watching the dogs while she's out of town for a little bit.
Yeah.
And so I've just been downstairs with the dogs, just chilling, doing whatever.
Yeah.
So I didn't even watch like much actual TV. I just turned on whatever on YouTube
And just let it play.
and just let it play.
Yeah.
For the honestly couple hours between when I wake up and have to go to work.
Oh, fair. That's fair though.
And obviously taking the dogs out to go to the bathroom and stuff
Yeah.
because they're there for a good like couple hours after everyone goes to work, and then I wake up and then they're like,
Bathroom now.
bathroom now. What have you been doing? But yeah, so I really didn't do much this week other than what we went and did on Sunday. We did get to go watch,
The Day the Earth Blew Up, a Looney Tunes movie.
which
Finally. I say finally as if it's been weeks.
finally as if it came out.
Yeah, exactly. True. Took a little
and-
drive to see it.
Yeah, I had to take a little bit of a drive because for a multitude of reasons, it was
Yeah.
not watchable here. One of which being we just didn't get it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
Good. We've already
Dude.
talked about it.
we already
Our
talked.
thoughts on
we
the way
talked-
home.
Yeah, we had an hour and a half to talk about our thoughts, but dude,
So good. It's
so
so good.
good.
It's just as good as everyone's saying it was.
if I were to give it like a score beyond what our usual score is, which was,
Yeah.
but I'd give it a 9 out of 10.
Same. I'm not.
There's just a couple things, some pacing towards the end of the movie that I would say
Yeah.
it brings it down to a 9. But like, dude,
It's like nitpicky stuff.
yeah, it's me being nitpicky.
Yeah.
But that's just kind of what I do.
Yeah.
And it just, but yeah, it was just so,
So
good.
good.
Heartfelt, hilarious. Farmer John is the best part of the
Jim.
whole thing. Farmer Jim. I don't know
How
why.
dare you.
I don't know why. I don't know why I want to call him Farmer John. Is that a character in something else?
Farmer John. I'm sure it is. That's like the go-to. I feel like Jim and John are like the go-to farmer names. I say that.
Yeah,
Farmer John.
it's actually a brand of breakfast sausage, and a song and a song.
Let's
by,
find its social media. I'm just kidding.
and a song by Don and Dewey.
Anyway,
Um,
so good.
Yeah, it is.
The genial. We can't say a lot of the jokes because it's more of like you had to be there.
Yeah,
Or you had to like watch the movie.
Jay and I now have references to make to each other,
Exactly.
which is just absolutely,
Yeah.
dude. And the animation, it's just cool to see 2D animation. Apparently, this was not meant to be in theaters. It was just going to be a Max release.
I can kind of see that, but I'm also glad it wasn't.
But
theaters.
I'm glad they got to put it in theaters.
Yeah.
It had a rocky opening weekend, and to the point where it might have been pulled, but there was enough backlash from it that catch up
Oh
entertainment.
no, I have. They said they're gonna. It's continuing to be in this week in over 2,700 theaters, and then they plan
in
to
the
keep
weeks,
it.
and they said in the weeks to
coming.
come.
Yeah.
So, but I'm hoping we'll get to the other
Yeah.
thing. We'll get to the other part of the
Yeah.
discussion of this movie later.
Later on.
But to talk about the movie itself, it's heartfelt. It's
Yeah.
funny. Porky and Daffy and Petunia are like a great like starring trio, and of course the villain's great.
Yeah.
The villain was
Hilarious.
hilarious. And the great thing about this was because it was meant for Max and they got to put it in theaters, it's almost like a happy accident of this is the first kids movie in a while to star voice actors.
Yeah, exactly.
And even the celebrities that are in it are also known for doing a lot of voice acting.
Yeah,
I'm
which
gonna-
is, and I forget, is a testament. Like I don't remember.
I'm going to look
Obviously,
up the
Eric
cast
Bauza.
real quick just so we can talk about it. But yeah, Eric Bauza was
Yeah.
obviously he's Porky and Daffy.
Yeah.
And he was actually on the Jennifer Hudson show to promote the movie.
Yeah,
Which was cool.
as well as a lot of podcasts.
Eric Bauza, Candy Milo, and Fred
Tatasciore.
Tatasciore. I don't know how to. I've never
It's
known
one
how
of
to say
those
his last name. You would know him as the Hulk in a lot of stuff. He
Yeah.
voices the Hulk and just a lot of stuff.
It's one of those where like you know his name and his voice.
And the other voice, like the other main voice, is a celebrity, Peter McNichol.
Who did he voice?
He was the invader. He was the
Oh,
alien.
okay, the alien, the alien.
You would know him as the guy in Ghostbusters 2.
Like the OG Ghostbusters too?
Yeah.
Oh shit, that's been a while.
And he's
no.
also in he's also Renfield in Dracula Dead and Loving It.
I don't think I've seen that.
Anyway,
Anyway.
he's been in other stuff. And then there's Wayne Knight,
Which I know obviously know Wayne Knight.
Lorraine Newman.
Yep.
And then everyone else is a voice actor. You got
Yeah.
Kimberly Brooks, Keith Ferguson,
But like when the main billings,
But
those
the main
three,
billings are like
Eric
Eric Bauza,
Bauza.
Candy Milo, and Peter McNichol.
yeah,
They all did a wonderful job, especially Eric Bauza.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
just absolutely killed it.
holding that thing down.
With Porky's.
I want to say mannerisms, but I know that's not what you're
No,
looking for.
Porky's mild manner.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
You know, he doesn't want to cause too much trouble. And then there's
Daffy's
Daffy.
outrageousness, who is chaos.
Who is chaos
Embodied.
incarnate.
Absolutely.
Which there are two. Daffy is one character with two different personalities depending
Yeah.
on what the situation needs. He's either the self-loathing, cynical Daffy,
Yeah.
or he's the goofy chaos.
Will destroy everything
Will
if
destroy
given the
everything,
chance.
either on purpose because he wants to, or
or
on
in lieu
accident.
in search of something else.
And it is definitely that Daffy, which is
Yeah.
the earlier Daffy. The earlier
Yeah.
Daffy was always the chaos, kind of the more destructive Bugs Bunny,
Mm-hmm.
if you want to make where his place was in the earlier Looney Tunes.
Yeah.
Before he kind of became the Daffy that we also know and love.
Yeah.
So, not to rant about Looney Tunes too much, but it was a
It was
really
so
good.
good. It's
film.
worth seeing in
It
theaters.
is
One,
definitely worth seeing.
if you are able to.
And did you see that the Blu-ray release of the movie hit the pre-orders hit #1 on Amazon?
No.
People were excited for this. They were
Yeah.
gonna even if their local theater, because not a lot of people are gonna drive like we did to go see it. So
Yeah.
if the local theater didn't get it, it wasn't a wide release. I mean, 2,700 theaters is still a lot of theaters to go to.
Yeah.
but it's not that wide.
Yeah. It wasn't like Novocaine where it was in every single theater.
Yeah, and so I'm guessing the DVD probably has to do with the people who are like, I cannot go see this, but I will get it on DVD and watch it.
Yeah.
I will also be getting on DVD when it comes out because
Because of something we'll talk.
I want it and because of something we'll talk about later.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what we did this week. Other than
Yeah.
some stuff that we'll talk about when we get into the actual part of the show.
Right. Which is coming up for me.
But wild start to an episode. We talk
Yeah.
about Nutter Butters, and then we can go on to
Social media,
Then
Looney Tunes.
I get to rant about Looney Tunes in a good way for
Yeah,
once.
and a good. My releases for this week in theaters on Friday, March 21st, we got Bob Trevino Likes It. Lily Trevino, seeking connection after her father's absence, mistakenly connects with a compassionate, childless stranger named Bob Trevino on Facebook, leading to a heartwarming, healing friendship that changes both of their lives. Magazine Dreams got a release, finally. It centers on Killian Maddox, a man consumed by his dream of becoming a world-famous bodybuilder, and one day gracing the cover of fitness magazines. He lives a lonely, regimented life, and his relentless drive for perfection only pushes him deeper towards self-destruction. This is the Jonathan Majors one. Locked got a limited release. When Eddie breaks into a luxury SUV, he steps into a deadly trap set by self-proclaimed vigilante who delivers his own brand of twisted justice. Trapped inside the car, Eddie soon discovers escape is an illusion and survival is a nightmare. And Ash got a limited release. Raya wakes up on a mysterious planet to discover her crewmates have been slaughtered when a man named Brian arrives to rescue her. An ordeal of psychological and physical terror ensues. The Alto Knights got a nationwide release. In the 1950s, notorious New York crime bosses Frank Costello and Vito Genovese vie for control of the city streets. Once the best of friends, petty jealousies and a series of betrayals place them on a deadly collision course that reshapes organized crime forever. I did just get out of this with my mom. It's kind of slow because it's very much narrative driven and not action driven. Of course, it's about the mafia. So there's not much action there unless like once everything happens. It was kind of hard to differentiate between the two Robert De Niro's at the beginning until it kept going. Then you're like, oh, obviously. It's all right. It's a solid all right. I'd wait to see it on streaming. But apart the biggest release this week, Snow White, for the second episode in a row, was released. A beautiful girl, Snow White, takes refuge in the forest in the house of seven dwarves to hide from her stepmother, the wicked queen. The queen is jealous because she wants to be known as the fairest in the land, and Snow White's beauty surpasses her own. I did see this last night. Of course, went into it expecting what we all have. Horrible.
Yeah.
Came out thoroughly surprised. I told you this.
It's okay.
It's okay. It's a solid. I told you it's a solid 6.
A solid 6, because what I have heard is that the movie is not great, but Rachel Ziegler
Is amazing.
manages to like raise the movie a little
Yeah.
bit. Which, considering how well she handled the press release, as far as public reception of the press release,
Yeah. And she said, like, Snow White's not going to be the princess that needs saved. I feel like that was taken, after seeing it, wildly out of context.
out of context, okay.
After seeing it, of course, going into it, I was like, okay, that's not Snow White. But after seeing it, I'm like, that's everything that I remember from the animated movie is in it.
Is in it? Okay.
She falls asleep. Prince wakes her up with a kiss. That's not a spoiler, obviously. 'Cause
Yeah,
it's Snow White.
Because what they had really made it seem like that there was very little respect for the original.
Yeah.
Like just how like anybody, not just her, anybody that was part of the movie, the way they talked about the original made it sound like, oh, we're making this because it needs to be made better.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of the fear I saw.
Yeah.
But I've heard because I didn't go see it because.
Yeah.
I honestly, I'm gonna wait until it comes out.
It's one of those things. It's where like if you go see it in theaters, great. If you wait till the Disney Plus, that's fine.
Yeah. At this point, the remakes have to really excite. I mean, I'm gonna go see Lilo and Stitch because I have people in my
Lilo and
life who
Stitch.
want to go see Lilo and Stitch.
Yeah.
But
Me.
like this one, I was like, I'll wait for streaming.
Yeah,
Just
you can
because
wait for streaming
I
for
wasn't that
this.
excited for it. Hercules, I might go see in theaters. Hercules is my
Absolutely.
favorite Disney movie, and
Yeah.
also the only of my favorite Disney movies that's gonna get a remake. We're not seeing a Treasure Planet or Atlantis remake ever.
As much as they would be awesome.
As much as remaking your failures makes sense to me, but
Exactly.
that's just not to rant about not that. But
Yeah.
but I've heard the consensus is Rachel Ziegler did a great job. It's everything else about the movie that's just
and even like the music, Pasek and Paul did the music is good.
is good. Like the new because
The
there's
new
old
music,
new music.
yeah, both of them were awesome.
Yeah.
I was like the hi ho. I was just like toe tapping the entire time. My mom was like swaying back and forth a little bit. Whistle While You Work was awesome. There's one that Jonathan is the name of the guy. He's not a prince.
Okay, so they changed
Yeah.
the Prince to a different character.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is awesome because like he almost has, I don't want to say a Chandler effect, but he's very much comedic relief, but also like in the way where it's like you don't mind it because he has a whole song called Princess Problems where he's like, that's your problem, not mine. Stuff like that where I'm like, it's genuinely funny. And some of the dwarf moments, there's like, you got some one-liners are hilarious. And that's about all I care to say about that movie.
Say because
The other big part is, well, you're right.
yeah,
Yeah.
we're
Gal Gadot. I'm not one of those people that says like she's the worst actress of all time, but
no,
this
but
one is
there's
not
definitely
good.
a woodenness about her.
Yeah. I was talking to my mom.
That was almost more like I didn't agree until I saw Wonder Woman 84.
Yeah.
Where I was like,
because her and Wonder Woman, the first one.
yeah, she did a
Good.
good job. But there's
Yeah.
something about Wonder Woman 84. I was like, oh, I see it now.
Yeah.
When she's on the wood of the car and
Yeah.
she's like trying to convince
Pedro
Maxwell
Pascal,
Lord
yeah.
to do something, and that delivered that line. I was
Yeah.
like, I see it now.
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah. The look,
oh yeah, look
really
totally down. Like,
but she has a song, and it's where my mom even was like, it seemed like staged in like a bad way.
yeah.
I'm like, yeah, and I'm also, and she's like, it's not the best.
I heard someone say the song would be good if it was anyone else singing it.
Now that's, I will say, I said that all songs were good. That song, I'm like, I don't care for.
Okay.
But yeah,
But I've heard like
if
it
someone else was
would-
singing it, maybe.
Yeah.
Because the way she plays it is, it just comes off as flat. Mm-hmm. And that's just her doing it. And my mom, because she started saying like, well, I think she did good for being the queen. And I'm like, well, it's flat. And I'm like, you give that to another actress, the role, you could see it didn't give off evil enough vibes
especially
to me.
when you watch the original, and
Yeah.
there's
She's despicable.
something about the original that I love is it and Pinocchio are probably the only old Disney movies to really do this. Then they
Yeah.
kind of started doing their own thing, but there's a very rubber hose. I mean, it was a 1939 movie, of course. Everyone was animating like that.
Yeah.
There's this Betty Boopness to it.
Absolutely, yeah,
If I want to make,
I know exactly
If I
what
want to
you're
make
talking
a comparison to that, anyone would actually know.
Yeah.
There's a Betty Boopness to it, to which the over-the-topness of the queen almost makes up for the fact that in the original she didn't have much character other
Yeah.
than being evil.
Yeah.
Like there was a comedicness of like when she first turns into the old lady,
Yeah.
and she's like laughing and just like, oh, I'm so evil.
Yeah.
And, like it's funny.
There was nothing like that, and I say that obviously happened, but
And to go from over the top to Gal Gadot,
flat,
who
and
cannot be
wooden
over the
and-
top.
Yeah, there's a lot of scenes where I'm like, and there's definitely evil tendencies about her,
Mm-hmm.
but the way she played it off, I'm like, it came off as like annoying / eye rolling.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense?
So better than you expected,
Better than
but the bar was still low.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like I said last night, I expected a 3. I came out of it at 6, and that's like amazing considering what my expectations were.
Yeah.
My mom even commented the production design is really good.
So we don't have to keep going, especially because I don't know what I'm talking about because I haven't seen it. I'm just basing off what I've seen people talk about, what you're talking about, and my own kind of like the pre-release, the kind of impression the advertisement for the movie made. Disney didn't handle everything the best as far as things being taken out of context. Now that you say it's now that they've been taken out of context.
I genuinely almost teared up at one point.
Especially because someone pointed this out. I keep saying someone, and I've realized I need to stop doing it. I need to, like, it sounds like I'm repeating everyone else's opinions when this is something that I found it. I'm like, that puts into words what I was feeling.
Yeah.
Snow White was made to prove that animation could be used as a medium in Hollywood to tell stories, and to remake that in live action and have the kind of attitude the advertising seemed to be having towards the original felt kind of disrespectful to your own company's legacy.
Yeah.
But now that I know that it's not that quite bad, I mean, it's still, they're remaking everything just because they think that what everyone wants. You just made a good original movie again. We'd be okay with getting original stuff. It's just that you can't make original stuff anymore
if they don't let you
without corporate meddling too much and it being not good.
It's worth seeing, whether it's in theaters or streaming. If I didn't want to see movies so bad, I'd wait.
Oh yeah, if you weren't the way you were about movies, because like even with me, then that's the thing is I'm that way about games, but games are more expensive, so I still have to skip some anyway.
Games don't cost a $10 ticket and then maybe like another $10 at the concession stand. 20 total.
Games are about four trips to the movie theater.
Exactly.
Yeah.
On the streaming side of things, on Wednesday, March 19th, The Twister Caught in the Storm, released on Netflix, is a documentary about the Joplin tornado in 2011. My mom was watching it last night. We watched it after Snow White, and she's like, was legitimately stressed. She's like, I wasn't this way with Twisters, probably because I know that it's real and I know what happens, and I'm still stressed out. And on Thursday, March 20th, Odessa hit Hulu. A farm girl embarks on an epic quest to recover a cherished family heirloom in the post-apocalyptic future. Her journey soon leads her to a strange and dangerous city where she meets her one true love. However, in order to save his soul, she must put the power of destiny and music to the ultimate test. And Duplicity hit Amazon Prime Video. High-powered attorney Marley uncovers a treacherous web of deception and betrayal when she investigates the shooting of her best friend Fila's husband with the help of her boyfriend, a former cop turned private investigator. On TV, Wednesday, not a lot. Wednesday, March 19th, Good American Family had a series premiere on Hulu. And Thursday, March 20th, saw the season 3 premiere of Farmer Wants a Wife on Fox. Happy Face got a whole series, I believe, dropped on Paramount Plus. And The Residence season 1 hit Netflix.
Farmer Wants a Wife, I didn't even know was a thing until I was watching Masked Singer with my family the other day. And an ad came up, and I was like, what? Man, they'll just come up with anything with these darn dating on like the 90 Day Fiance. Farmer Wants a Wife, I'm just like, they turned farmersonly.com into a TV show.
Yeah.
I
remember when it started because we were watching like 911, my mom and I. And that is all of my releases I have for this week.
I have some releases. March 17th, we had Party Club on PC from devs Lucid 11 Interactive and publisher Game Dev Ist. Seat customers, serve drinks, and manage chaos with up to 4 players. Keep the peace by considering customer types while seating them. Survive disasters, handle quirky customers, and design the perfect venue to keep the party going. On March 20th, we had quite a bit. Cataclysma on PC from devs Digital Sun and publisher Hooded Horse. Design and build fortresses brick by brick to stand against endless hordes of horrors in this real-life strategy game with resource management, siege defense, and exploration. Lead from the ramparts, push back the darkness, and hold fast against the creatures of the mist. Wreckfest 2 entered early access on PC from developer Bugbear and publisher THQ Nordic. Ready for mayhem? Wreckfest is back, offering the best in full contact racing with unrivaled destruction. Witness head-to-head battles as you tear apart rival vehicles bit by bit, powered by the enhanced physics engine developed by the creators of Wreckfest and Flatout. Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition released on Nintendo Switch from Monolith Soft and Nintendo. The massive sci-fi adventure returns for a new generation. Explore the planet Mira and defend yourself against enemies using giant weaponized robots. The visually enhanced edition of this open world RPG contains newly added story elements and more. I got to play it for a total of 30 minutes. So I played the opening. And having just played Xenoblade, it's definitely Xenoblade. But there's also a little bit more of a focus on you have to be like closer in range, which you do have to be in range of the enemy to attack them in the original, but this one has a little bit more of a focus on that. I got nowhere near the part where the robots unlock. Like I know that's a good chunk into the game. But I was surprised I had a Wii U. I did not get it on the Wii U. I don't actually have a whole lot of games on my Wii U because by the time I got a Wii U, all I really used it for was Lego Dimensions, Mario Maker, and Mario Kart. And I had a couple old games on there. But like everything else, I was so focused. Like the Wii U unimpressed me so much that I just got more games on my 3DS.
Yeah.
Like I was just like, whatever. And then the Switch came out and I was like, okay, Nintendo...
Yeah, we're
good.
From the Wii.
But this, I know this was the last game, in my opinion, we still need Yoshi's Woolly World to be taken off of the Wii U and the 3DS and put on the Switch, but that's just me. But this is considered like the last big Wii U game that needed to be put on Switch so the Wii U can officially be like kind of left behind.
Put to the side.
Yeah, that was the last thing for Nintendo fans to bring out their Wii U for. I still bring mine out for Lego Dimensions every once in a while, but like, I don't know. That's starting to become so much of a hassle that
you're like, I don't want to do it.
Yeah. Xenoblade Chronicles X, it's there. It was fun. You got to make your own character, name them. You can select a different voice that gives them a different personality.
Ooh.
They don't talk during cutscenes.
Like
it's just mostly for in fights.
Yeah.
I chose the jokester character, and so I asked my mom, I'm like, boy or girl? She's a girl, so I made my character a girl.
Yeah.
And then
did it from there.
Yeah. And so, yeah, I mean, I can't even rate it because I haven't even played that much of it.
Yeah,
but
some more thoughts soon. Keep playing
I will say one thing, though. The title screen, the definitive edition, was off-center, so, can't score it too high.
Yeah, no 10 out of 10.
Kidding. But, yeah, so that's, like, the big Nintendo release. This is actually probably the last big Nintendo release before a certain thing happens Actually, it'll be a week from the following Wednesday after this episode airs.
Oh, that's right. It is, a week and a half, 2 weeks?
From today, like the day we're recording, it's a week and a half. But
yeah.
when this episode drops, it's the week after the following Wednesday.
Yeah. By the time you're listening to this, next week.
Yeah. By the time you're listening to this, next week, the Switch 2 will be in the full swing. We'll find out things. I am so stinking excited. There was a dry spell of like even the YouTubers that I watch that do like Nintendo stuff were just like you can only speculate so much.
Yeah.
And the rumors actually kind of stopped once the interesting rumors that the average person would find interesting.
Yeah.
Because there's been a lot of rumors about how it's going to handle upscaling of games, the kind of NVIDIA chips it uses and different things.
Like the technical stuff.
Like, that's interesting to me. If I sat down and had you watch a video about that, Jay, you'd be like...
How long do you think I'd make it in before I pulled out my phone or like gave you a look or like... Can we watch something else?
Maybe 30 seconds. They start listing...
Oh, wow.
They start listing the numbers and you're going to be like, are they going to talk about games? And I don't mean that in an insulting way. I just mean that the technical stuff just doesn't. It's not that interesting to the average person. The person who's going to go buy a Switch does not care all that much unless it's frames per second and stuff. That's not what I mean. You know what I mean.
What? But two? No, I'm kidding. I know
but yeah, but like, so we have some rumors about that is what I'm trying to say. But there hasn't been too much. Like I posted this on Blue Sky. I am genuinely shocked. We have not gotten even a fake game leak for the Switch 2. There's no, other than speculation and educated guesses, there's nothing to talk about as far as like potential games for like, none of the insiders have said anything other than like, oh, this might have been originally a Switch game imported to Switch 2. We don't know.
Yeah. But not like full game.
But no, full game, not just nothing. It's all been technical stuff, which is almost like we know it's not even rumors. We know it's a fact because of patents and things that happen when a console is close to being announced. So I've got way off track. Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition, great.
More on that.
It's the last release before the Switch 2 comes out. I'm very excited because I said all that. The YouTubers I watch are now starting to talk about it again and speculate a little more because it's we're a week away. Yeah. So get ready for that. Potentially a React video will be posted from us.
Yeah.
We don't quite know. It's early in the morning. I
And
say
with my
early
job,
in the
I
morning.
never know if I'm
It's
gonna
not
work.
as early as it is for
everyone
for
else.
the West Coast.
Yeah.
but it's still early, so we'll see. If it ends up just being me reacting, I don't know. Part of me is also like, but I kind of just want to sit there and spend the rest of the day
Yeah.
just watching everyone else react, because that's what I'm excited for. Is I watch it, and then I get my own, and then I go and watch any Nintendo Direct. I also do this. I will go and watch everyone else's reactions.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm just having flashbacks to 2017 again, late 2016, early 2017, when the Switch was first announced, and
Yeah.
just the craziness that was all that. So I'm very excited. If you can't tell, because I sidetracked us for like a good 3 to 5 minutes.
Before I sidetrack us.
But yeah, before Jay sidetracks, on our next release of March 20th, Assassin's Creed Shadows on Xbox, PlayStation, and PC from Ubisoft.
Yes.
Experience an epic action-adventure story set in feudal Japan. Become a lethal shinobi assassin and powerful legendary samurai as you explore a beautiful open world in a time of chaos.
Finally. I know we all joked. We're like, I was listening to the last episode. I'm like, Monday's gonna come around. They're gonna be like, it's delayed. And then you said,
And then I
was
messaged you the night, Wednesday night.
Yeah.
And I was like, they're going to announce it got delayed this morning. And you're like, you better not. Boy, you better go knock on some
They're
wood.
not going right now. Right now. No, I had it pre-ordered. I had it downloading Wednesday night. Then I played it as soon as I got up Thursday. And I played it for a solid throughout the day, 9 to 10 hours. That's all I did. My only
You
breaks
say that's
were,
all you did, but like that's a good chunk at least
Yeah.
of thoughts on a game.
Yeah. The only times I stopped were for practice that night, and then at lunch when I watched an episode of Frasier while I ate a sandwich, and then went to the restroom. Other than that, it was Assassin's Creed all day. You're not going to get a lot of my thoughts on Yasuke because I'm one of those people that explores, and so like I'm playing as Naue right now because that's what you originally started out at. You get a little bit of playthrough as Yasuke, but I'm playing as Naue, and that's what I'm exploring for the region. And so a lot of these thoughts, I literally have a pros and cons list in front of me.
Okay.
I was taking. My just original thoughts going off of it, loved it. I'm loving it so much. And I say all these nitpicks. I have not played Mirage. And I know that's a different gameplay than Valhalla was. And a lot of this is different from Valhalla. So anyone who's listening who has played Mirage, take that in consideration. I'm comparing it to Valhalla because that's what I've been playing for the last 2 weeks. Pros, you can literally hide in the shadows, meaning if you are in the shadows but right in front of an enemy, they won't see you. I literally tried that out with someone. So it makes, as Naue, at night, you're more easier. But during the day, you got to work a lot harder, which is, I love about that. I love the grappling hook. There's more fluid parkour than the previous games. Like I said, that might have been changed from Mirage. Going down, if you like hold the circle to go down, she does like a flip down instead of like turn around and then scaling down. Sprinting is fast, which I feel like is almost just as fast as riding a horse. I'm sprinting around the whole mountain because I'm like, I don't want to waste a horse right now because you can't get everywhere with a horse. That being said, I have slid a lot of places while I'm trying to get up a mountain, and it makes me mad. When you call a horse, you automatically jump onto it once it's there, which Valhalla I have called, and it has come to me and then run away for a good... One time I spent 2 minutes chasing. I'd get up to it, and then it'd go further. I'm like, come here.
So the horse is just kind of immediately like you call it.
Yeah,
And it's just
once it gets there, you jump right onto it. You don't have to
Okay.
press a button to get on there. When whistling to draw an enemy to you, they almost immediately head to you. Rather than in Valhalla, it takes a solid, sometimes 2 minutes before they even start moving towards you.
Now, I haven't played the Assassin's Creed games at
Mm-hmm.
all, but I have played Batman Arkham.
Oh yeah,
And I know the pain of throwing a batarang and then being like, huh?
They'll
and
look at it and
they'll
then, like-
and they'll sometimes go the opposite direction.
Yeah.
And it's like, come on.
after doing like a side by side look for maybe 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah, they'd come like immediately towards you, and it's a 1-on-1, so like you don't draw like 3. And the fast travel waiting stream is just picturesque shots of places in the game, which is so beautiful. Of course, it's Japan. Ghost of Tsushima is beautiful as is. I have screenshots like that I actually took where I'm like, this is beautiful. Cons, controls are slightly different from Valhalla. Again, they might be the same as Mirage. I just spent 2 weeks playing Valhalla, and like my crouch is a different button, and I'm like, oh crap. But I've gotten used to that now. There's J-pop music
Okay.
set to some of the... I know I've only experienced it once that I remember as an action cutscene, and then also during like a boss fight, where it kind of... I'm like, I don't know if I enjoy that or not, rather than just being like traditional like Japanese music. You know what I mean? Where I'm like, it kind of takes away from it, but kind of like you got to focus on it, and you're like kind of like rock, maybe a little bit in the background, and it's like I'm like, I don't want to be hearing that while I'm fighting a freaking samurai that's 2 levels above me.
As someone who plays a lot of RPGs,
You're used to it.
that won't faze me much.
Yeah.
In fact, some of my favorite RPGs are the ones that have lyrics in the songs, because I'm just like, it's just something instead of just But I can see how someone who doesn't play a whole lot of games like that,
Like Assassin's Creed is like,
especially Assassin's Creed, that feels like an odd choice, but it also makes sense because of the setting. And
I get it.
Is it
but
still under the frame that that a person from modern times is being put into the body of their ancestor, or is that just kind of
that was how it was in Valhalla, but you don't start out that way. But there's obviously like they're still talking about like memories from it. But you haven't played as the person
because you could
yet.
frame the J-pop as like whoever the company's like playing music for you while
that's still there.
Okay,
like it's the company being like, oh, we're gonna take you, because you start out as like Yasuke for like one fight scene, and then like those memories are like this thing's happened, so now you're gonna here's some more memories, and it's Naue. But yeah, so I can see you saying that makes sense. But I haven't played enough like actual story to it yet to see if that's every single scene. Because that's just the one fight scene from like a memory that I've done. And my only other nitpick is when you're sprinting, your breath sounds is very obvious, almost as loud as like the nature sounds, which kind of gets annoying. That's just me nitpicking right now. I'll hopefully have more reactions later on like Yasuke, because I believe I'm getting more into the story. Again, I'm loving it. I love the stealth stuff. I'm a person who doesn't mind stealth stuff in it, so like playing as Naue, this is what I'm here for. I'll take my time and kill all the daishos or whatever it is, if it takes me 20 minutes.
Yeah, as someone who is generally not a very patient person, I love stealth games. So I'm okay with like Spider-Man, Batman. Like a lot of people, like I'll just go in guns blazing. I'm like, no, I'll wait and
I'll take my time. And that's where Yasuke, you can't use stealth. But this one, Naue, you can use stealth.
Because it's almost like approaching combat as a puzzle. There's just something. I love puzzle games.
Exactly.
So I'm like, this is just a puzzle.
Yeah, I can't take out this person because this person is looking at them, so you can take out this person first, but I gotta wait till this person crosses by.
Like Metaphor had a stealth spot, and I was like just one time, just for this one mission, there was a stealth spot, and I was like, this is great. I love this.
Exactly. That's where, it's kind of like, it's like that. Where I can just sneak around all I want. And they do make it like, so when I'm sneaking as hard, there's these floors where like they'll squeak if you're sneaking around.
Yeah.
And so, whereas regular floors don't. If you're sneaking and you go to open one of those like screen doors, it opens slowly where you can sneak behind someone. But then I've seen a gameplay with Trey where Yasuke, he can't use I say echolocation, you know what I mean? It's like the vision. Yeah. You can like see the red stuff. He can't use that. He can't sneak because he's more the brute. Which I can't wait to get to that, because the one thing I played with him, I'm like, but yeah, a solid 8 out of 10 from what I've played so far.
Okay.
Might go up, might go down, depending on how far I get into the story. Loving it. It's well worth the wait. I'm so happy. It's got like 1 million plays in 24 hours, and I saw today it's at like 2 million, and I'm like, yes.
Players. We don't know about sales, because the game was given away a lot.
Yeah.
And other things. Hopefully it sold a little better. I still think Ubisoft's going to be bought out by the end of the year.
Yeah.
I just think that's inevitability, because Ubisoft's kind of shot themselves in the foot a lot.
I loved it.
That's good. Believe it or not, this is the second time since we started in May that Jay has gotten to talk about a major release without having played. Well, third time Split Fiction.
Oh, well,
Astrobot Split Fiction, and but like in general, that you've gotten to talk about a release that you actually played, instead of either you seeing me play it or me being like, hey, try it out for a little bit. Like, so
Astrobot and Assassin's Creed Shadows.
And also the first time in a while that we have some big movie releases, but like
I was more excited this week
about the
than
games.
Assassin's Creed.
Like, this is the first time in a while, because I think I can't even remember the last one where I was like, oh, Donkey Kong, I guess. But I don't know. I do have a couple more releases, though.
Yes.
March 21st, we had Atelier Yumiya, The Alchemist of Memories in the Envisioned Land, on all major platforms from Koei Tecmo. Atelier Yumiya is a story about memory. Explore the field to gather materials and synthesis items. The items you create can be key to advancing the story and can also be used in battles and exploration. Additionally, you can create your own base with building in the field. It's just Koei Tecmo's next RPG. I know the Atelier series is somewhat big, kind of niche. So I have no opinions other than your next anime RPG. And I say that someone who likes anime RPGs. Your next anime RPG just released.
Yeah.
Bleach Rebirth of Souls, which is a game based on an anime, released on Xbox, PlayStation, and PC from devs Tamsoft Corporation and publisher Bandai Namco. Awaken the blade within you and reverse your fate in Bleach Rebirth of Souls. Engage in thrilling battles with powerful sword abilities and characters from this legendary anime franchise. Look Outside on PC from developer Francis Colombe and publisher Devolver Digital. Look Outside is a survival horror RPG set in a single apartment building. A mysterious event turns everyone who looks out the window into grotesque monsters, leaving the world in absolute chaos. Scavenge the building to seek food supplies and weapons while encountering strange characters. And finally, Splintered, released in early access on PC from Dotmake Studios, a unique RPG where the villain randomizes the world with each defeat. Start with a classic JRPG experience, then delve into a shifting world where the overworld items and enemies shuffle, creating new challenges. Conquer these worlds to unravel the story and make your way into the final showdown.
I got a couple miscellaneous posters. We got a new poster for The Amateur, Materialist, the 40X poster for A Working Man, Sinners, for the second episode in a row. We got a couple new Lilo and Stitch posters. Did you see all those?
Yes. My favorite was the Aladdin because the tagline is "Who wished for this?"
Exactly. No! I just realized what you said.
Which,
oh my goodness.
Which can be applied to Stitch, but could also be applied to the movie
Everything
itself.
Hey. There's also ones released for Snow White, Beauty and the Beast, and Cinderella theme, where he was like chewing on one of the slippers and biting the apple. Got a poster for Big Mouth Season 8, poster for The Last of Us Season 2 on its third episode in a row. Not Just a Goof, a Minecraft movie. Trailers. We got new trailers for Baby Invasion coming TBD. Death of Unicorn releasing next week, March 28th in theaters. Happy Gilmore 2 releasing July 25th on Netflix. Materialist releasing June 13th in theaters. Shadow Force releasing May 2nd in theaters. Ballerina releasing June 6th in theaters. Elio releasing June 20th in theaters. Together releasing on August 1st in theaters. The Toxic Avenger releasing August 29th in theaters. One Battle After Another releasing September 26th in theaters. Ariana Grande's short film Brighter Days releasing sometime. And Dangerous Animals releasing June 6th in theaters. And The Four Seasons releasing May 1st on Netflix. And release dates, the 98th Oscars will air on March 15th, 2026. Not Just a Goof was announced this week. A documentary about a Goofy movie will release on Disney Plus on April 7th. I believe it's called Not Just a Goof. The Goofy movie?
Yeah, the Goofy movie documentary. I'm excited for this. I love a Goofy movie. Obviously,
isn't it the anniversary of it on April 7th?
It might not be on the 7th, but it is around the time of the anniversary of the movie. But it has a lot more of an interesting development history than you think it would.
Yeah.
One thing that they'll probably talk about is, did you know that they didn't even want I don't know if it was a producer or director or whoever, didn't want Bill Farmer to voice Goofy.
I think either you told me that or I saw that.
They thought his voice wouldn't he wouldn't be able to give like a emotional weight to the performance. So they were like,
and then he does.
So they were like, well, let's get Steve Martin instead. It'll be closer to his everyman Goofy voice, which was a little less what we know Goofy to be.
Yeah.
They gave Bill Farmer a chance though, and we got what we got, which is good awesome. Because Steve Martin as Goofy just sounds like, I don't feel like the movie would hit the same.
Yeah, because he comes out as traditional Goofy, and that's one where it's like, oh, we're seeing the Goofy that we know
be a little more
dramatic.
Yeah, and also it doesn't make sense to me because I always saw a Goofy movie as, yes, it's its own thing, but it's also kind of a it's a series finale to the Goof Troop, which was the Saturday morning cartoon about, it's kind of a sitcom, kind of not sitcom, about Goofy and Max living next to Pete. And anyway, so Goofy just all of a sudden having a normal voice when it's supposed to be kind of based on those cartoons, the ones that feature Max.
Yeah.
So it's like, anyway.
That's just wild.
So I'm excited for this documentary so we can delve deep into things like that.
We're going to get your reactions on that.
Oh, probably. I will be watching.
April 7th.
Yeah.
Ben Stiller says it will, quote, definitely not take another 3 years for Severance Season 3. Weapons, Zach Cregger's new film, will now release on August 8th in theaters, starring Josh Brolin, Julia Garner, Alden Ehrenreich, Austin Abrams, and Benedict Wong. It's described as multi-story horror epic tonally in the vein of Magnolia. One battle after another, Paul Thomas Anderson's new movie has been delayed to September 26th. Maggie Gyllenhaal's The Bride, which is starring Jessie Buckley as the bride and Christian Bale as Frankenstein's monster, has been delayed to March 6th, 2026. The animated Cat in the Hat movie, starring Bill Hader as the titular character, will release on February 27th in theaters. Invincible Season 4 will officially return in 2026, and Big Mouth Season 8 will release on May 23rd on Netflix. In terms of castings, Dexter Resurrection returns for the 5th episode in a row, revealing John Lithgow will return as the Trinity Killer. The 98th Oscars has tapped Conan O'Brien to return as host for next year. Robert Kirkman reveals that Thrag has already been cast for Invincible Season 4. The next 3 hosts for Saturday Night Live have been announced, with Mikey Madison, Jack Black, and John Hamm running for 3 consecutive weeks starting on March 29th. Only Murders in the Building Season 5 has cast Christoph Waltz, which I send this to you. I'm like, what kind of budget have they given the show?
I honestly think it's less of a budget and more of the fact that you've got Steve Martin, Martin Short, and Selena Gomez as your 3 main characters, and those 3 alone probably have enough connections to be like, hey, you want to come be on the show with me?
And then they open the door with Meryl Streep in Season 3, and where it's like,
and so it's just, and also the show seems to be so fun to work on. It's so good that enough people
finally won an award.
Yeah, and so enough people are probably like, it was so funny to watch it win an award. Selena Gomez was like, we never win. Like, to actually say that.
That was everyone thinking that. We're like, you were all expecting the bear. I'm very excited to see who he plays. I hope he's not the killer, because I don't want him typecast as that.
Yeah.
But Christoph Waltz.
Maybe he'll be the red herring character.
Absolutely. Cinda Scare, Robbie Amell, and Victoria Justice have been cast in Josh Trank's new movie. This is a horror thriller, follows an interactive horror startup that gives thrill seekers a way to send scares to friends and family, but it soon gets to a real masked killer. Zach Kreger's Resident Evil movie, Austin Abrams is in talk to star. He's getting like a lot. He's the one, that whale one we talked about. Behemoth, Oscar Isaac will star in Tony Gilroy's new movie, said to be a drama about a cellist. And 911 Nashville has cast Chris O'Donnell as in the lead. That is my first part of miscellaneous right now.
Going to my gaming news. Jay, I want to give you a little bit of a history lesson.
Yes. You know I love history.
So in 1992, the Seattle Mariners, where former owner Jeff Smulyan was looking to move the team to Tampa Bay. So Seattle would be losing the Mariners. Nintendo's third president, Hiroshi Yamauchi, as a favor to the city of Seattle and area, as his home there was in Redmond, Washington, and next to the Nintendo of America headquarters, decided to buy the team and fully own the Seattle Mariners from 1992 to 2016, in which they sold 90% of their shares to I can't remember who. But they still retained 10% ownership. And this week, they announced that they are going to be expanding their sponsorship of the Seattle Mariners, in which the team will be wearing Nintendo patches on their home jerseys and Nintendo Switch 2 patches on their away jerseys. This was showcased in a video featuring Julio Rodriguez.
Huh. So then, wait, Nintendo owned the Mariners for like a good decades?
Yeah. From 92 to 2016, they wholly owned, and now they're a 10%
wow, I did not
ownership.
Know that. I wonder if my dad knows that.
But it makes sense if you ever watched games between like
that time
when the Wii came out and now. There's been ads for Nintendo stuff just all over the stadium and stuff. Yeah. But yeah,
I don't know that.
It was great that this was in the news because I get to bring that up. That's just kind of like not something you expect. Like, did you know that Mario? Like,
boys are talking about sports in this one.
Yeah, the Mario company of all companies owned the Seattle Mariners.
That's like whenever you find out that Nintendo's been around since like the 1880s with playing cards or something like that.
Yeah, they made playing cards. In fact, Nintendo's name roughly translates to luck, leave luck to heaven, which was a reference to the fact that the playing cards were used for gambling.
See, you don't know that. And now I get to... I'm sure we can hit my dad when I get home and be like, did you know Nintendo used to own the Mariners and still has part owner in it? He's probably going to be like, yeah, and he's going to name that name.
Anyway, that's a cool little first bit. So that was a cool thing. They're definitely in full swing of like, they're going to be promoting the Switch 2.
Yeah.
We're getting ready for it.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Postal 2 VR was announced from the creators of Hyperdash and Breachers. Comes forefront, a VR multiplayer shooter coming in fall 2025. Seismic Squirrel has announced choice-driven tactical RPG Aether and Iron about an alternate 1930s New York with anti-gravity technology integrated into the society. PS1-inspired horror game Phase 1 was announced. Each chapter follows one of 2 heroes coming to PC. The Ark Lost Colony expansion was announced for Ark Survival Ascended, coming this November. Lego Pokemon sets have been teased for 2026.
Yes.
Did you see that there is a Pokeball on one of the studs on each piece?
No.
Isn't that cool?
Like in the place where they usually have like the Lego word.
Yeah.
I love that.
And that reminds me, did we ever talk about that there is a Mario Kart set coming out where it's like a full build Mario, like it's
can't
like
remember
a
if you did or
brick
not.
build Mario in a cart. Anyway, that was also announced. I don't know when it's
Yeah.
coming out. It's coming out this year sometime, but
Yeah, I think soon, like May 1st.
maybe May, maybe, I don't know. Croc, The Legend of Gabos will re-release on all major platforms April 2nd. Underwater first-person shooter horror game Chasmal Fear releases on PC April 17th. Crossplay is now available for Palworld. Sci-fi co-op game Forever Skies releases April 14th on PS5 and PC. New Overwatch 2 hero Freya is now available to play as in early access from March 21st to 24th before launching with Season 16. Skate Story is coming to PS5 in 2025. Autopsy Simulator is coming to Xbox and PS5 April 3rd. A demo is now available for the upcoming Mars Attacks game. Deliver at All Costs releases May 22nd on PS5, Xbox, and PC. Texas Space Shelter survival game Into the Dead Our Darkest Days releases in early access April 9th. System Shock 2 Remastered comes to consoles and PC June 26th. The War Sales expansion was announced for Mount and Blade 2 Bannerlord, introduces Nord Viking factions, a naval campaign, an expanded map and warfare, and more. Releases June 17th. Co-op action game Painkiller was announced for a fall 2025 release. Deep sea horror game set in a sunken mansion, Dark Mass, was announced for PC, PlayStation, and Xbox. 2.5D action RPG Mandragora, Whispers of the Witch Tree releases April 17th on PC, PS5, and Xbox. Supernatural survival game Lost Rift was announced, enters early access later this year. A video game adaptation of Frosthaven was announced by Snapshot Games. Acts as a spiritual successor to Gloomhaven, enters early access in 2025. Land Party Adventures was announced, a first-person simulation game set in the early 2000s, in which you can use land parties, friendships, and dial-up internet to solve the mystery of a disappearance of a friend, releasing in 2025. It's absolutely crazy that we're starting to get these nostalgic games set in the early 2000s. We were just babies, Jay.
Oh, I know. You're starting to get I think that's the first time I've ever heard something be called nostalgic, and it was a time when I was alive.
Oh, dude, it's we had one game. What's the one game? It's like by the Life is Strange people that I've mentioned a few times. That's set in like 2005.
Oh,
I was in kindergarten. That wasn't that long ago. That wasn't that long ago. Oh, just wait till we get anniversaries.
No, stop it.
Fretless, The Wrath of Rifson releases May 22nd on PC, a turn-based RPG about a musician taking down a corrupt CEO who plans to use a Battle of the Bands competition to rule all of music.
I love that, though.
Train adventure game Locomoto releases on PC April 9th, later on Switch. Puzzle platformer Once Upon a Puppet releases April 23rd on all major platforms. Nobunaga's Ambition 2 Lord of the Darkness, Romance of the Three Kingdoms 4 Wall of Fire, and Uncharted Water New Horizons is arriving to the SNES NSO March 28th. A UI concept for Xbox featuring a Steam Games tab was published and quickly taken down by Microsoft this week. Usually don't do stuff like that, but because Microsoft did it. So we'll see what that means. Nintendo has announced membership with the Accessible Games Initiative, which strives for further accessibility in video games by tagging games with what accessibility options they have, such as colorblind mode or narrated menus. Minecraft has announced the Vibrant Visuals update, which will include a new graphics boost for the game. Minecraft has also announced the addition of a dried ghast block, which when rehydrated will spawn a ghastling, which in turn can become a happy ghast for players to fly on.
Ooh.
which I thought was kind of cool, as well as further info on the spring to life update, which I think includes new chickens, leaves, different things like that.
Yeah.
That one I didn't get quite as detailed on because the gas thing was
It's like cool.
that's cool.
You can fly.
That is my gaming news for this week.
In terms of new looks, to finish out my miscellaneous Minecraft movie. Speaking of which, a Minecraft movie for the 4th episode in a row. We got a new look at an Enderman and a cow. First look at Steve's World, and a new look at dog, sheep, bee, and llama, and some new clips. Mortal Kombat 2 got a first look at first official stills at Carl Urban as Johnny Cage, Martin Ford as Shao Kahn, Adeline Rudolph as Kitana, and Hiroyuki Sanada returning as Scorpion. New images of Death of Unicorn. First look at Ben Stiller returning as Hal L. in Happy Gilmore 2. New look at Monarch Legacy of Monster Season 2. New look at Ana de Armas and Norman Reedus. And Keanu Reeves returning as John Wick in Ballerina. New clip from A Working Man. New clip from Bob Trevino Likes It. First clip from the Lilo and Stitch for the 2nd episode in a row. A new clip of Farmer Jim from Day the Earth Blew Up. A new look at the stop motion animated series My Melody and Kuromi. As well as first look at Greta Lee from Tron Ares and first clip of Alien Earth. And first looks, Duster, first look at the new drama series following the first black female FBI agent who recruits a getaway driver in a bold effort to take down a growing crime syndicate. First look at Star Wars Vision Season 3. Specifically the short film Black, which follows the rages and the tormented psyche of a stormtrooper close to defeat. First look at Materialist, which features Dakota Johnson, Chris Evans, and Pedro Pascal in Celine Song's new R-rated romance movie. First look at Sirens, One Battle After Another, and the first logo released of The Mandalorian and Grogu. In terms of box office earnings, Novocaine for the 2nd episode in a row opened with $8.7 million domestically on an $18 million budget. And The Day the Earth Blew Up earned $3 million in the film's domestic opening weekend. Snow White for the 2nd episode in a row earned $16 million in its domestic opening day. And The Electric State for the 3rd episode in a row debuted with 25.2 million views on Netflix over its first weekend, which is less than Red Notice, Extraction 2, The Gray Man, Damsel, Carry On, and Rebel Ridge. Glenn Powell news, he may potentially star in a new Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie. Strange Darling director J.T. Molnar is interested in making the film, and if he is able to get a script, Glenn Powell wants to read it and possibly star in and produce. How to Train a Dragon for the 2nd episode in a row. We got our first official photos of the How to Train a Dragon Isle of Berk theme park land as part of the Epic Universe in Orlando. And in new announcements, a new Cloverfield film is still moving forward. It'll be a direct sequel to the original movie. The Last Resort, Daisy Ridley and Alden Ehrenreich will star in a new rom-com following a woman who travels to the Philippines to scout for a new resort location while a charming pilot travels around the sights of the country. Darren Aronofsky is in talks to direct a remake of Stephen King's Cujo for Netflix. A live-action Power Rangers series is in the works at Disney+. Jonathan E. Steinberg and Dan Schatz, who served as showrunners on Percy Jackson and the Olympians, will serve as showrunners for this. Encanto 2 is potentially in the works at Disney. The Golden Ticket, a Willy Wonka competition series, is coming to Netflix. Coco 2 is officially in the works at Pixar, with Lee Unkrich and Adrian Molina will return to direct. Will release in theaters in 2029. I Pretended to Be a Missing Girl. Sydney Sweeney will star in and produce for Warner Brothers. The thriller is based on a Reddit short story that follows a drifter who impersonates a missing girl to rob a family only to realize she's made a terrible mistake.
Hey, we're getting Reddit movies now. There's some good ones to turn into a. That's
open
almost an
that whole treasure
an
trove.
anthology series
Or
to
with
make.
Reddit
Just
short
do
stories.
Reddit short stories.
Yeah.
I wonder if the person who originally wrote it on Reddit's going to be getting any credit at all.
They better.
They
I
better.
feel like they should.
I feel like there
Unless
is.
they want to remain anonymous.
But I also know Hollywood enough to be like, they'll just be like, that's right. Like when you make movies based on memes and stuff, like the person that makes the meme probably doesn't get as much unless they copyrighted the
meme.
image, you know.
Yeah.
So it's like,
yeah, unless you pull a good move like Ben Affleck in Air, or like the dude submitted as like I forget what kind of script it's called, but it's where like they can adapt it as their own.
Mm-hmm.
But he goes, no, we're giving you full credit for it.
Anyway, so that's kind of like that made me go,
Yeah.
Like,
what else are we gonna get from Reddit now?
Yeah, there's just can't wait for the am I the never
AITI
I can't wait for the AITI movie
stories. It's just a whole.
It's just a bunch of people being terrible to each other, and then at the very end, they just look at the audience and be like, "Am I?
Am I? We'll let you decide."
Credits roll. You know,
Exactly.
you're an all-star.
No. Oh my goodness! Yes, it's perfect. Give us credit. A split fiction movie is in the works with a bidding war beginning between studios for the movie rights to the video game. Which, as you said, not going to happen.
Probably not going to happen. Look,
I said this to you, and I'm like,
shortly after It Takes Two came out, they're like, yeah, we reached a movie deal with It Takes Two. We haven't heard anything since maybe 2021.
I didn't know anything about that they even got a movie plan. In my miscellaneous mentionables, the new Big Bang Theory spinoff series been titled Stuart Fails to Save the Universe. The rights for the Jason Bourne franchise are being sold to another studio. Skydance, Apple, and Netflix have met about acquiring the franchise. Unclear if Matt Damon will still be involved or if a reboot will happen. American Dad will no longer air new episodes on TBS, and it's eyeing to return to airing new episodes on Fox for the first time in over a decade. We do have, speaking of Looney Tunes again, and we told you we'd be back, we have good and bad news for it. Which one should I start with?
Start with the bad news.
Bad news. We'll end on a good note. Looney Tunes was removed. We found this out as we were leaving the movie theater.
When we got there.
Got there. Looney Tunes was removed from Max. I say Looney Tunes, literally the whole everything.
Everything but the modern incarnations.
Yeah. Was like Space Jam, New Legacy, and stuff like that.
So like all the classic Looney Tunes shorts.
Yeah. Was removed from Max as part of Warner Brothers' plan to prioritize adult and family programming, saying, this is not a quote, children's programming like Looney Tunes and Sesame Street is reportedly no longer a priority due to low views.
Look, this has something to do with the overall grander scale. Warner Brothers is just a part of this weird thing where no one seems to be interested in building a place for kids to be kids. Mm-hmm. Websites just go straight to streaming or YouTube.
Yeah.
It's just videos. There's no games online for kids to just want to do kid stuff.
Yeah.
There's a weird disinterest in making cartoons actually aimed at kids. A lot of the cartoons that come out, while I love them, are aimed at us.
Yeah.
Like Jellystone. You can't tell me that was aimed at kids in any way. That was as much as I love it. That's the creator of Chowder doing what he wants with classic Hanna-Barbera characters.
Yeah.
And it's really only going to appeal to people who love the Chowder humor, which
also,
are people who grew up with Chowder, who are now like in college or older.
Yeah.
And then the people who know Hanna-Barbera well enough, which are even older than us or cartoon nerds like me. Mm-hmm. So it's like there's just this weird thing where they've all of a sudden decided that kids are not worth
I think we've spoken on this in a past couple episodes.
But
Sesame Street
with involved. Sesame Street, where this is almost like putting not the nail in the coffin. There's still got to be some hope. But it's like, it just sucks that that's also happening and also seeming to be grouping animation in with it.
Yeah.
Because a lot of those older Looney Tunes cartoons, I would not show my child.
Yeah.
Because they weren't made for children.
Yeah.
Looney Tunes was never made for simply children. You know what Looney Tunes was made for children? Baby Looney Tunes.
Yeah.
Everything else has always been made to be, because Looney Tunes is supposed to be as wide of a blank, just throw out the net.
Stuff out there, yeah.
It's a wide appeal is what I'm trying to say. I don't want to rant too much.
You saw my reaction. What you might not have picked up was just a sigh.
Yeah, so it's just
a long, prolonged sigh.
I don't know. This weird thing of like, oh yeah, we don't want to focus on kids content. What is family content then? Is that just not kids content that parents can also enjoy?
Yeah.
Like, what are kids supposed to do?
You want me to move on to the good news?
But yeah, let's move on to the good news before I get off my soapbox.
And this good news came as dare I say, a complete shock.
Yeah.
Warner Brothers is in talks to sell Coyote vs. Acme to Ketchup Entertainment for around $50 million. For those of us who have not heard us say it and don't know, Ketchup Entertainment was the ones who released Day the Earth Blew Up.
Yeah, and considering that
it was written off for taxes.
It was written off for taxes. I thought they made a public statement saying they deleted the movie.
I'm pretty sure. Don't hold me to that, but
or a director or someone was like, "Yeah, no, it's not there anymore." And also, how Ketchup Entertainment handled The Day the Earth Blew Up, they didn't advertise it well. Mm-hmm. The box office being $3 million is actually a lot better than you would expect.
Absolutely.
Much, and considering how much they advertise it, but still pretty low. Mm-hmm. It's shocking.
Yeah.
But I hope the deal is made. We wouldn't see it till next year if the deal is made,
because it's not like they have to like film it and everything.
And this one will actually have
we kind of had this conversation.
bigger names to advertise it.
John
like
Cena.
Eric Bauza getting on the Jennifer Hudson show and stuff like that. That's great.
But no, like like I said,
I
the
know who
traditional
Eric
audience.
Bauza is.
Yeah,
My
nerds
mom
do.
does not.
Yeah, the traditional
My
audience
neighbor
won't
does
know.
not. So,
But they'll know John Cena.
They'll know John Cena.
There's a chance they might know Will Forte.
and the
They'll know
thing
James
is,
Gunn.
right now, John Cena. We don't talk about wrestling on here. John Cena is going through a villain. Like he's a bad guy now.
Yeah.
and he's also the Acme lawyer in Coyote versus Acme, which feels like a great kind of thing of like, I'm such a bad boy, I'm even defending Acme. Like just go through that whole thing. I don't know.
But then John Cena gets people in seats.
Yeah. So like things are lining up.
And produced by James Gunn. Everyone loved it.
If Ketchup would just advertise this one a little more.
Yeah.
I think things line up for this to be somewhat of a success.
success.
Probably not as much as it would have been if Warner Brothers had just released the darn thing.
Yeah.
But it's good the movie's coming out.
Potentially.
It's good the movie is potentially come out.
Yeah, that is all my miscellaneous news to
I have some anime news. Or actually, I have anniversaries. I can't.
Yes.
We haven't done it so long, I almost skipped it.
let's almost go out of our minds.
So talk about like, oh man, I can't believe they're making things set in the early 2000s. Like, how is that nostalgic?
You're gonna make me sad.
March 16th, we saw the 30th anniversary of Alone in the Dark 3 on PC. And then it was the 15th anniversary of God of War 3 on the PS3.
I saw that. I want to play those original God of War games.
March 17th was the 20th anniversary of Harvest Moon DS on the DS. The 25th anniversary of Final Destination. And the 86th anniversary of The Little Princess, the Shirley Temple version.
Oh.
Yeah. March 18th was the 15th anniversary of Sam & Max, The Devil's Playhouse on PS3. I believe that is the third and final season of the Telltale Sam & Max games. And the 15th anniversary of Yakuza 4 on PS3. Oh, wow. March 19th was the 5th anniversary of Resident Evil 3 on PC, PlayStation 4, and Xbox One, and the 5th anniversary of Doom Eternal on Xbox One, as well as the 15th anniversary of the Diary of a Wimpy Kid movie.
Oh, I saw that and I was like, it's wild. I was just thinking this whenever you said 15 years of Yakuza 4. I'm like, oh, I think my mind is still on, when I think 15 years ago, I'm like mid 2000s. It's 2010.
Yeah. And this
Man
I just
2
included this for
15
me.
years.
Yeah, Iron Man 2 be 15 this year, yeah.
Wow.
And I just included this for me because it's a weird number. It is also the 9th anniversary of Erased, which is my favorite anime.
Nice.
March 20th was the 5th anniversary of Animal Crossing New Horizons. And for me, the whole Doom Animal Crossing crossover thing that everyone was doing, it's kind of like the Barbenheimer of gaming.
Yeah. It's two very, very different things.
That people put together. And then those, and obviously because of the pandemic, that means all that was 5 years ago, which is weird to think about. As well as the 61st anniversary of the Pink Panther and the 10th anniversary of Insurgent. Mm-hmm. And the March 21st was the 30th anniversary of Kirby's Dream Land 2 on Game Boy, the 24th anniversary of the Game Boy Advance, the 25th anniversary of Mario Land 3 on Game Boy Color, and the 20th anniversary of Time Splitters Future Perfect on GameCube, PS2, and Xbox. And March 22nd was the 20th anniversary of the original God of War on PS2, the 53rd anniversary of Fist of Fury, and the 40th anniversary of Friday the 13th 5: A New Beginning.
Why are we so old?
Dude, we are not old, but TV
My knees will say otherwise.
TV ages differently than humans.
It does.
So 20 is old for some reason.
Exactly.
Especially because we live in a day where reruns aren't as prevalent because of streaming, and the only people that are going to watch old shows on streaming are people who grew up with it or are interested in that thing. So kids aren't gonna know it. And I'm ranting again.
Cozy TV. Whenever I was younger, I saw that as like 70s and 80s show, like the classics, and now they're showing like Bones, The Office. Stop,
dude.
Anyway.
Dude, you go on TV Land, and I don't know if TV Land. You go on a channel like TV Land, and there's reruns of King of Queens on there.
We're supposed to be old stuff. Oh my goodness, no.
That's the thing. The Golden Girls was like, there are shows that we love, remember growing up, that are as old as the Golden Girls is when we were born.
Yeah.
That I'm just like, that's not right.
No.
And of course, my dad that listens to this is like, you guys don't know what you're talking about. Star Wars.
Everyone does.
Everyone says anytime a Gen Z person is like, oh man, I can't believe this stuff is
10 years older than us.
And I go, yes, we're not that old, but it's still weird to think about the fact that I'm that stuff like that is 20, because that means I'm 25.
Exactly. Like I always go back to, I literally said it today. I told a kid who asked me when I graduated and was like, wow, I graduated high school 6 years ago. Feels like it's maybe 2 or 3.
Right?
Anyway, should I get into birthdays?
We should probably get into birthdays.
Birthdays. Sunday, March 16th, Lauren Graham of Gilmore Girls and Parenthood fame turned 58. Alan Tudyk, modern-day Frank Welker and Creature Commando star, turned 54. And Victor Garber from Legally Blonde, Titanic.
Wait a second.
What?
I just got what you said.
Exactly.
No.
Yes.
He's the modern day John Ratzenberger
Yes.
for James Gunn projects.
I knew that'd get you.
Or no, for Disney. The modern day
Disney,
John
for Disney.
Ratzenberger for Disney.
Yeah, I knew that'd get you. And whenever you let me go, and I'm like, wow, is he really going to let me get away with that? I'm a mischievous little booger. Victor Garber, you know him from Legally Blonde, Titanic, and Sleepless in Seattle, turned 76. Monday, March 17th, Rob Lowe, Parks and Rec star and go-to punchline for John Owen Lowe, turned 61. Kurt Russell, The Thing, Tombstone, and Escape from New York star and the MCU's Ego, turned 74. And John Boyega, Attack the Block star and Finn in the Star Wars sequel trilogy, turned 33. Adam Levine, on Tuesday, March 18th, Adam Levine, lead singer from Maroon 5, turned 46. Queen Latifah, Ice Age The Meltdown, Hairspray, and The Equalizer star, turned 55. And Lily Collins from Emily in Paris and Mirror Mirror, turned 37. Wednesday, March 19th, Bruce Willis of Unbreakable, The Sixth Sense, and Over the Hedge star, turned 70. Andy Reid, head coach of the Kansas City Chiefs, and I've called him this since like the Alex Smith quarterback days, Carrot Stash, turned 67. And Glenn Close, 101 Dalmatians, Fatal Attraction, and Hook star, turned 78. Thursday, March 20th, David Thewlis of the best Harry Potter movie, Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban.
Jay, I have a question for you.
Yes.
Do you think has there ever been a movie with Glenn Close and Jamie Farr in the same cast?
Jamie Farr was Klinger, right?
Yeah, Close and Farr. We can move on. Joke didn't land. We can move on.
You. How dare you? I was about to be like, no, was he one of the henchmen? And 101 Dalmatians?
I'm actually going to pull up the Baconator.
The Baconator?
My joke.
Did you hear my David Thewlis, the best Harry Potter?
Yes.
Prisoner of Azkaban.
I actually agree.
And Big Mouth Star, that's my favorite movie of the Harry Potter. Was 62. Spike Lee of Malcolm X, Do the Right Thing, and Black Klansman director turned 68. And Holly Hunter from The Incredibles and Raising Arizona turned 67. That was all on Thursday, March 20th. On Friday, March 21st, here's some 2 actors where you think their ages are going to be farther apart than they are. Gary Oldman of The Darkest Hour, Dracula, and James Gordon in Nolan's Dark Knight trilogy turned 67. You know who turned 63 that same day?
Who?
Matthew Broderick is 4 years younger than Gary Oldman. I would imagine like 10 years younger. Of course, you know him from Ferris Bueller's Day Off, The Lion King, and The Producers. What did you find out?
No, they were never in a movie together, but they do have a separation number of 2 because Jamie Farr was in A Month of Sundays with Rod Steiger, who is in Mars Attacks with Jen Close.
On Saturday, March 22nd, Reese Witherspoon of Walk the Line, Legally Blonde, and Sing star turned 49. Constance Wu, Fresh Off the Boat, Crazy Rich Asians, and Hunters star turned 43. And William Shatner from Star Trek The Next Generation and Boston Legal turned 94. I said and as if that was the last one. Keegan-Michael Key turned 54. You know, from Key and Peele.
Go blast through some anime news here. The Secrets of the Silent Witch premieres July 2025. I Got a Cheat Skill in Another World and Became Unrivaled in the Real World 2 has announced a TV special for future release. The Stunned Hero and the Assassin Princess releases July 2025. My Hero Academia's 8th and final season premieres this October. The Fragrant Flower Blooms with Dignity premieres July 2025. The Lycoris Recoil anime shorts premieres April 16th. The new Panty and Stocking with Garter Belt anime premieres July 2025. Rascal Does Not Dream of Santa Claus premieres July 2025. Ugly Mug Epic Fighter premieres July 2025. An anime adaptation of Minoru Toyoda's Core Kate Shine manga has been announced. Let This Grieving Soul Retire Core 2 premieres October 2025. An anime adaptation of Aruto and Unagi's The Banished Court Magician Aims to Be the Strongest has been announced for an October 2025 release. I Don't Need a Worthless Mage, You Can Only Use Support Magic, You're Fired. Alec, a court magician who supported the crown prince from behind the scenes, suddenly finds himself exiled from the royal court. Now jobless, he pays the Magic Academy a visit and runs into Yora, one of his party members from his school days. Their renowned party once set a record record in the royal dungeon, and now it's time to reunite and start a whole new legend.
These titles were back.
Oh, just wait.
Oh, no.
Actually, I think that might be the word. Nope, just wait. Digimon Beat Break, a new Digimon anime, premieres this October. Upcoming anime Bullet Bullet has announced its first 8 episodes will premiere July 16th on Disney+. The following 4 episodes will follow August 13th. Welcome to the Outcast Restaurant premieres this July. The anime adaptation of Tsukasa Hojo's Cat Eye premieres September 2025. A mysterious art thief named Cat's Eye exclusively goes after the works of European painter Michael Hines. Detective Toshio Utsumi fails to arrest Cat's Eye at every turn, getting scolded by his boss and even facing demotion. Toshio's girlfriend, Hitomi Kisugi, who runs a cafe near the precinct, which also shares the name of said thief, is always there to listen to his gripes and give him a pick-me-up. Little does he know that Hitomi and her sisters are Cat's Eye. Private Tutor and the Duke's Daughter premieres July 2025 after failing the final exam for his dream job at the royal court, promising young sorcerer Alan wants nothing more than to retreat to a simple life in the countryside. Unfortunately for him, he can't even afford the train fare. His only solution is to get a job, but his one lead is anything but modest. Duke Howard, one of the kingdom's most powerful nobles, needs a private tutor for his daughter Tina. Despite her academic brilliance, Tina is incapable of casting even a single spell. To make matters worse, entrance exams for the prestigious Royal Academy are fast approaching, and magical aptitude is mandatory. Can Alan use his unique brand of spell casting to help Tina overcome her magical impairment, a mystery that not even the kingdom's finest sorcerers have been able to solve? And does her father, the Duke, even want him to? An anime adaptation of Satsuki Nakamura and Kanayuki's Though I Am an Inept Villainess, Tale of the Butterfly Rat Body Swap has been announced. The Kingdom of I, 5 clans put forth their maidens as imperial consorts. Are you okay, Jay?
Is that the one?
That's the one I was saying was probably going to send you.
Here's the bad thing.
Yeah.
Go back to Cat's Eye. I'm like, did I miss the title in there somewhere?
Nope, it's Cat's Eye.
You just kept going, and I'm like, oh no. What is this again?
Though I Am an Inept Villainess, Tale of the Butterfly Rat Body Swap.
What are we doing? Okay, I need to hear the synopsis for this.
The villainous genre is actually a favorite of a friend of ours. Shout out to Haley. In the kingdom
She's going to hate me.
No, but I'm sure she'll give you a lot of crap when she listens to this one.
Absolutely.
In the Kingdom of I, 5 clans put forth their maidens as imperial consorts, but only one will be crowned empress. Just when frail and beautiful court butterfly cow Ririn seems poised to marry the crown prince, jealous court rat Shu Kaigetsu steals her body. Ririn wakes up in the dungeons as the conspirator, and things look dire, or do they? Now that she's got a robust new body, not even the looming threat of execution can stop her. A new anime series in the Cute High Earth Defense Club franchise has been announced. The anime adaptation of Nocia premieres October 2025. And finally, Matt Owens, co-showrunner of the live-action One Piece show, will be taking a break from his position on the show for his mental health. A lot of people are saying he's stepping down, like he's quitting. He's just taking a break, which means the next season might be without him, or he will be less involved, but he is not completely quitting the show. He is just taking a step back.
Stepping aside for now.
A lot of times things like this will happen. The creator of Adventure Time stepped down as showrunner, but he was still producer and writer and stuff.
That happens.
So it's like this sounds a lot more dire. As long as the creator is still involved and the other showrunner is still showrunner, I think we'll be in good hands.
Yeah.
If everyone was like, we're out and the third season is still happening, I'd be very worried. But I think
then again,
you
got the gems like that with Daredevil.
Yeah.
Complete creative overhaul.
And we have one comics thing this week. DC Comics has announced a 4-issue miniseries, The New History of the DC Universe, in which a rotating cast of artists will work with Mark Waid to retell the story of the DC history.
I have a couple of comics, not a lot. In DC side of things, Sergeant Rock, Colin Farrell is in talks to star. Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. Jason Momoa says his version of Lobo looks, quote, pretty dead on. saying he is, quote, exactly like the character, and he's pretty rough and gruff. I'll say the bike's really cool. And also, DC High Volume Batman was announced, a new weekly audio drama podcast that will adapt stories from across Batman's history. It'll launch on April 2nd in collaboration with Realm, and will begin with a 4-part adaptation of Batman Year One. On the Marvel side of things, Daredevil Born Again, for the 6th episode in a row, had its episode 4 dropped, the best one of the series so far, including what scene that was the best scene of the entire show. The first poster for John Bernthal's return as the Punisher, which is not a spoiler because he's in the thumbnail of the show, which I found out at practice, and I'm like, then I hurried home as fast as I've ever had hurried home before. We also got a new look at John Bernthal as Frank Castle, and it is confirmed to be set 7 years after the original Netflix Daredevil series, which I believe is the amount of time since we've gotten it. Last release. Thunderbolts, for the 3rd episode in a row, we got a new look at U.S. Agent and Sentry. We got a new look at Ironheart, and then John Bernthal reveals he pitched the Punisher special to Marvel, which will show, quote, the visceral, psychologically complex, unforgiving, no-holds-barred version of Frank, going on to say, quote, nothing is easy and all violence has a cost. We're going to see that cost, end quote. And celebrity deaths this week. Emily Dequenne was 43. She's an acclaimed Belgian actress who won the Cannes Prize for her film debut. David Stephen Cohen was 58. Courage the Cowardly Dog head writer. I believe more.
Amongst many others. A lot of, he screenwrote a lot of stuff.
Yeah. Jesse Colin Young was 83. Youngblood's frontman who sang Get Together. Wings Hauser was 77. Young and the Restless star and father of Yellowstone's Cole Hauser. Mark Dobies was 65. Guiding Light and One Life to Live star. Jan Schwieterman was 52, the Good Burger star. And George Foreman, as of last night, it was announced, passed away at the age of 76, champion boxer and grill mogul. My sources for this week are Deadline, Movie Insider, Great Magazines, Variety, HonestyandFestival.com, The Insider, IGN, Entertainment Weekly, Screen Rant, The Wrap, New Heights, People, Hollywood Reporter, TV Line, and Famous Birthdays, as well as, of course, Discussing Film.
I want to thank my sources, IGN, Crunchyroll, Game Trailers, Discussing Film, and the official sites and socials of the projects mentioned today. With that, we'll move on to part 4 out of 5.
Yes.
Part 4 out of 5 of our remaking video games with Muppets tier list. Pretty excited for the next 2 weeks. Like,
yes,
these specifically are the ones I've been the most excited about, other than Batman.
Yeah.
And then God of War ended up being like a pleasant surprise.
Yeah, very pleasant surprise. First up,
we have
Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild.
So this one probably not as fun as Wind Waker, just because it's a little more serious.
Yeah.
But you know the gist. Link wakes up after 100 years. He has to go out and activate these 4 if he wants to. You can just go fight the final boss right away if you want, but that is not recommended. He has to go reactivate these 4 champions, or the 4... the terminology is leaving me. He has to reactivate 4 mechs that the ghosts of the champions can pilot for him to take down Ganon. There's little bits and pieces of story here and there. I don't know. This one's harder to recast because there's only like certain characters. You have Link, you have Zelda, you have the King, you have the 4 champions. Ganon's not even.
Oh no, he comes in. Yeah,
he's in Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah.
You have the 4, like I said, the 4 champions. They're descendants, so there's like 8 characters there. Zelda, Link, the King, and then there's
What did we do in Wind Waker?
With Wind Waker, I think we kept Link, Tetra, and his sister. So do we want to keep Link and Zelda and make the champions Muppets?
I think
they're all dead. They've all died heroic deaths at this point, plus their descendants. So,
and then also like all the various things throughout can be Muppets.
So and everyone's name, even though it's one of my favorite games of all time, it's hard for me to remember the champions' names. Other than Rivali, because it's hard to forget Rivali when he's a jerk, but you can't help but love him. There's Mifa, the Zora. She's the fish woman who is in love with Link, and then dies, and then she has the younger brother, who is just absolutely fantastic. One of the best characters in both Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. Who's also very like, yes, adventure, let's go, Brother Link. We are off to fight the bad guy. And
is that Fozzie?
And then there's Daruk, who's kind of like grandiose. He's from the rock people, and then there's his descendant who's very shy. And he's like, "You're really me? You want me? Are you sure about that?"
Walter.
Then there's
Kermit.
Urbosa, the queen of the Gerudo people, who is just the only equivalent I can make, Jay, that you'd understand is very Wonder Woman like.
I can, yeah.
And then her descendant, who is like a teenager and finds herself being queen.
Yeah.
Then there's Rivali, who thinks he's better than Link and is like, I don't understand why you're the princess's main protector. I mean, look at me. And he flies. He's an archer. Has this, I don't want to say one-sided, probably one-sided rivalry where Link's just kind of like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
And then there's Zelda. Well, we do anyway. So this one, I almost want to say we put this in C because it's hard to cast.
C?
Yeah.
Where, like...
Yeah, there works.
Right in the middle?
Yeah. Where it would be interesting to see some of the other characters, like, especially this is the game where all the women are in love with Link. So to have the like Camilla and Piggy and just all
Janice?
Janice.
Janice is back.
Just have all of them just flirt with Zelda. Or with Link, I mean.
Oh, that'd be so good to see. Piggy would be all over him.
Yeah.
She'd karate chop everyone. The Last of Us. Do we keep Joel and Ellie?
Yeah, do we keep Joel and Ellie and everyone
And
else?
have all the other side characters?
And have all the other side characters.
Are all the infected just animals? No, the clickers are animals.
All the
No.
clickers are animals. You have infected be like, I don't know, Fraggles from Fraggle Rock.
Fraggle Rock.
Or actually, no. They should all be things from Dark Crystal.
Yep. That's exactly right.
And the Labyrinth. And just all that stuff. Yeah.
A horror Muppets.
Well,
We've
we've
kind
talked
of
about
on the
this
Resident
before.
Evil.
Yeah.
Is it C territory?
Or is this actually? I want to say this is a solid B game. Of it can almost
agree.
as much as Last of Us has made itself relevant. I think it's okay to parody this one. It would also be very amusing to parody it
Because it's more like
imagine
an
the
action.
scene. Imagine the scene where she finds the magazine in his car, but it's just pictures of hands. This is also another one where I could almost argue that maybe they should just be original Muppets that are.
Yeah. And then have like the Muppets be like the human characters.
Yeah.
Like Bill and all that. B tier?
This is a solid B to me.
B?
Yeah.
Should it be... Where do you think we should be?
You
Above
play-
Horizon.
You place it where you think.
Well, the thing is, I haven't played any of these three.
Yeah, it does.
Chrono
You
Trigger?
just place it where you
I'll
think.
put it right there.
Alrighty.
I think it should be a ways above Horizon for sure.
Next, we have Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time. This one is a little more like Wind Waker, where it's story focused enough that I feel like we have a cast.
Yeah.
That isn't, because Breath of the Wild is a lot of just wandering around and then story might happen. But Ocarina of Time, Link is kind of an outsider amongst those people because he never got a fairy companion when he became of age to have a fairy companion like everyone else, until one day he does, and the fairy tells him that he must see the Great Deku Tree, which is like the forest people's father figure,
Yeah.
who tells him, hey, you're adopted and go fight the bad guy. Evil is overtaking the land.
Mm-hmm.
And so Link sets out with his fairy companion, meets a young Zelda who is having visions of Ganondorf taking down the kingdom, and Ganondorf is like becoming buddy with the king.
Yeah.
Ganondorf is Gerudo. A male Gerudo is born every 100 years. It's usually Ganondorf.
Yeah.
Which at some point you'd think that would be a bad omen, but most of the time they're like, no, he must be our king, for he is the one man amongst our
And
people.
then it's
And then he usually ends up trying to take over the world. And
Yeah.
Anyway, so this is like the quintessential Zelda story when you think about it. Ganondorf wants to take over, get all the power of all the different Triforces. Link must stop him. There's time travel involved in this one.
Yeah.
I don't want to give away too much, Jay, because even though it's an old game, there's a plot twist I want you to see.
Yeah.
But this one has Impa. Instead of being an old lady, she's like a young, like ninja fighter lady. She's almost, even though
Miss Piggy?
even though she's the lady in waiting, she's kind of the like the guard. Like she's the person that guards Zelda.
Yeah. I feel like it's 100% Miss Piggy.
So that would probably be a good Miss Piggy character.
Are we keeping Link, Zelda, and
probably
Ganondorf?
keep Link, Zelda, and Ganondorf.
Yeah.
And have everyone else be a Muppet. This one is I would almost say it's above, put it at the top of B, because it's not quite as
About Five Nights.
it doesn't have as much comedy as Wind Waker does, because it is but it's also around long enough that parodying it is fine.
Yeah.
There's definitely things you can parody and things that, anyway, we're kind of moseying through these because I'm finding the Zelda games, other than Wind Waker, was not quite as fun where it's like, no, I have
Muppet?
specific moments, where this one I have specific characters but not specific moments.
Yeah. That'd be hilarious. Mario and Luigi partners in time.
So this one, Mario and
Would be
Luigi,
hilarious.
Mario and Luigi team up with their baby selves. This is why I included this one, if you can tell. Team up with their
Ooh.
baby selves to stop an alien invasion that is in the past and present, destroying the Mushroom Kingdom. They hook toads up to machines and suck the life force out of them, turning them into regular mushrooms. It's weirdly dark. You find out the queen of the mushroom aliens is you doing this to revive her sister. So the final boss is the soul of a alien queen.
Oh my goodness.
And it gets really dark really fast. But yeah, I'm thinking Kermit and Fozzie go back in time and find Muppet Babies Babies versions of all the Muppet characters.
Do we keep like the queen?
Maybe keep the
villain?
aliens. Yeah, maybe have the aliens be everyone else, but like Bowser, replace it with, I don't know, Sweet and Sweetums and other different things. Like, where it's like all the Muppet characters, if they've ever been antagonistic, make them the antagonist. Different things like
Uncle
that.
Deadly.
Princess Peach can be
Miss Piggy.
Miss Piggy.
That's a pretty.
Toadsworth can just be a younger and older version of the nanny that takes care of them in Muppet Babies.
Yeah.
Different things where it's like,
Yeah.
this just kind of felt perfect. Where you could alter the story to be a little more Muppety and a little less Mario, and it works.
It'd be fine. I'm thinking at least absolutely no lower than A, and even then I'm thinking high A.
High A?
Well, are you thinking S?
I'm thinking high A.
I
Yeah.
think it could be S.
It teeters on S, so maybe put
Yeah.
above Banjo-Kazooie.
Above Banjo-Kazooie. The highest of A's. Persona 4.
Persona 4. So a group of teenagers discover that a series of murders in their small town seems to be connected to something called, I believe it's the Midnight Channel is what they call it, which is TVs will randomly turn on, or if you keep your TV on midnight, static will turn into a TV show featuring a local person, and it ends up being like this person's inner thoughts. If they're going through turmoil of some kind, they're connected to the anyway. And so they must enter this TV realm to fight this person's inner demons and solve the murder. The main character is being sent there from out of town because his parents are on a business trip, so he lives with his uncle, who is the local detective investigating the murders.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of intrigue, a lot of like day-to-day high school things, so it's just murder mysteries, but they're also fighting monsters by night.
I feel like, do we keep the detective?
Do you keep
And
the
throw,
uncle?
Yeah. And then throw like the main cast of Muppets in there to be the teenagers?
Yeah,
You
maybe.
think
Yeah,
that would work?
that might work.
I like
You like it?
I like it.
Yeah, it's a very anime game, Jay. But I feel like you'd love it. I feel like
You guys should have seen the look I just gave.
even if you didn't play the whole thing, because it is a long game, it's an RPG. But like if I showed you bits and pieces, I think you'd love it.
I'm thinking. What are you thinking?
This one is almost.
I'd say Detective Muppet is like very intriguing.
This is almost low A, maybe.
Low A. That's what I was thinking. I'm above Assassin's Creed.
Okay.
Final Fantasy above, below.
Yeah, around there. Yeah.
Right here.
So Persona 5
Yes.
is not, so the games are not sequels to each other. They're just
Anthologies.
it's like Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
So this one, a student is framed by this guy for assault and is arrested, and like it's treated very seriously because this adult is like high up in the political world. So his parents are basically like, we don't want to handle this. You're going to go live with some random dude that agrees to watch delinquents. And so you go live above this guy's curry shop. Like it's a coffee house that sells curry. You live above there, and he's like, you're on a tight leash. You don't do anything, or you're out of here on the streets on your own. And you can deal with your probation yourself. And so he just kind of wants to live low, just let this out. And when he on his first day to school, him and another local outcast get lost on the way to school because they accidentally enter another realm that is the inner mind of the PE teacher, who does some things that I can't even say on the show.
Oh.
And so they realize that thanks to a guide named Morgana, who enters the real world as the main character's pet cat, helps them realize that they can force him to have a change of heart by going into heist-like scenarios into the person's inner mind palace, and every mind palace is a different thing. He thinks he's king of the castle at the high school because he's an Olympic medalist who is working he's bringing good money to the school, working for it and stuff. So you infiltrate the castle, you steal the treasure, you fight. And more students and other people join the party when they awaken their persona, and they just basically all these teenagers take on these corrupt adults by entering their minds and making them feel sorry for the things they've done.
Yeah.
But it's framed as they are master thieves stealing from art museum, a bank, different.
I love that.
It's less murder mystery and more heists.
Yeah.
Heist with there's a little bit of a mystery going on of
I mean, still jumping between places. You were saying that, I'm like, Kermit gives me the vibe of the main guy who just wants to lay low.
He just wants to lay low. And
is that what you're thinking?
maybe. I was thinking this might be one where you keep the main character and have the rest of the party be the Muppets.
I was honestly thinking the guy who he goes with.
The guy, he's just a random guy. Yeah.
That was giving me Rolf vibes
Rolf
for some reason. I don't know why.
Rolf. That would mean Rolf's daughter, who's a shut-in, eventually joins you, and her mother's death actually ties into the main story somehow.
Oh my gosh.
These games, I like. We're like, oh, this is so. These games get dark, especially 5. 5 is like, but.
Yeah.
So this one might rank lower because it'll be a little harder to make some of the very serious subject matter.
Comedy.
Spoiler alert for a game that came out in 2016, but one of the people you stop admits to allowing a woman to die from a seizure in front of him because she was going to expose that he was a fraud. And that's not even the worst thing some of these people get away with.
Yeah, no.
So it's a little harder to make this one lighthearted and Muppety.
Comedy,
we might want to put this one, but it's still going to be fun because there are lighthearted moments in it.
Yeah.
So we might want to put this one in B instead of A.
B instead of A. We're at like low B.
Low B, maybe. Yeah.
Grim Fandango.
There we go. If you can't tell, we're just kind of ranking these ones. However, we are not as strongly what we think
movies.
as we are with the movies.
Yeah.
And finally, Ratchet and Clank.
Hear me out.
Okay.
I was thinking Gonzo.
And Rizzo. Gonzo and Rizzo.
Rizzo's the robot. Clank.
Yeah. Okay.
Retitle it Gonzo and Rizzo.
Keep the evil CEO, like the human guy from Muppets 2011. Keep him as
Chris Cooper.
Keep Chris Cooper as the CEO from the first game.
Yes, and we're talking about like the one that was released around the time the movie came out.
And do you have the superhero guy that's actually kind of a goofball and not really that good of a superhero? Is that Fozzie?
I was thinking Fozzie. Fozzie. It's definitely Fozzie.
And just everyone just kind of fills in the roles. Yeah. That one's almost kind of like Crash Bandicoot and Banjo-Kazooie, where it's a toss-up where you could put it, because it would be fun to have a Gonzo and Rizzo led game.
Because you're going back and forth at each other.
Yeah, and then we get Chris Cooper to come back as the bad guy.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
I'm thinking A tier.
A tier? Okay.
Do you think it's going to be high A? I feel like it's already like silliness is going to be like in this area.
Put it next to Banjo-Kazooie, like right there.
Next to Banjo, right here?
Yeah, there we go.
All right, and that is our penultimate Muppets video games tier. S tier, no one joined it. It's still being held down by God of War, Batman, Arkham Asylum, Epic Mickey, and Luigi's Mansion. A tier, Mario and Luigi Partners in Crime, and Ratchet and Clank, and Persona 4 joined Banjo-Kazooie, Legend of Zelda Wind Waker, It Takes Two, Final Fantasy VII, Assassin's Creed, Danganronpa, and Ghost of Tsushima. In the B tier, Five Nights at Freddy's, Professor Layton and the Diabolical Box, Chrono Trigger, Crash Bandicoot, Grim Fandango, and Horizon Zero Dawn were joined by Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, The Last of Us, and Persona 5. And in the C tier, Resident Evil, Far Cry, Until Dawn, and Portal 2 were joined by Breath of the Wild. We got some big ones coming up next week.
Oh, yeah. Next week's going to be fun.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
This is
I've been thinking about this one before we started.
3 of them alone.
Yeah.
For me specifically, I'm like, this is gonna be fun. But yeah.
Oh yeah.
On that note, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, do all those interactive things. Follow the podcast on most social medias at Mondays for Nerds. Follow me, Tristan Stump, at Sir Stumpslot or Sir Stumpslot17 on most social medias.
Follow me at Chris M. Pratt fan or Poe the Panda 001, wherever my socials are at. And thank you for listening.
Yes, thank you. We hope this episode was entertaining.
Yes, hope it started off.
Definitely
enjoyed that
entertaining
start
for
off.
us.
Yeah.
A lot of asides, a lot more than we have lately.
Absolutely. Made up for last
Especially
week.
because we've had less, we can talk more. The last couple times we've been like, we got to get through all this.
Yeah.
So we can talk more than now. So it's fine. Until we have one more week maybe of that.
Exactly. And then
Before
ramp up
stuff happens.
bad.
At least in gaming alone.
Yeah.
But yeah, we will see you all next time.
Goodbye.
Bye.